What was the relationship between the California missions and Spain? Have you ever wondered how the California missions fit into the larger picture of Spanish colonial history? The California missions were established by Spain in the late 18th century. This was part of Spain's plan to expand and secure its northern frontier in the territory known as New Spain. Spain aimed to extend its empire along the Pacific coast by founding a series of missions, military forts, and towns. These missions stretched from San Diego to near San Francisco and were central to Spain's efforts to incorporate Alta California into its colonial empire. The missions were founded and run by Franciscan missionaries. They operated under the authority of the Spanish Crown and the Roman Catholic Church. The primary goal of these missionaries was to convert the indigenous Native American populations to Christianity. This conversion was not just about faith. It was also about integrating Native Americans into Spanish colonial society. The Spanish Crown viewed Native Americans as subjects who needed care, instruction, and protection. However, they also saw them as a labor force to support the colonial economy. Spain provided financial support for the missions through funds like the Pious Fund of the Californias. This fund helped sustain the missions and their activities. However, the missions never became fully self-sufficient and relied on continued support from Spain. The missionaries sought to change Native American life by replacing indigenous religious practices with Catholicism. They also taught European agricultural and craft skills. This often meant disrupting and destroying native cultures and ways of life. The relationship between the missions and Spain was complex and often harsh. While the missions were intended to protect Native Americans from exploitation by settlers and soldiers, they became institutions that controlled and confined Native populations. This led to resistance and suffering among the indigenous people. Disease, forced labor, and cultural suppression significantly reduced Native American populations. The missions thus served as instruments of Spanish colonial control, blending religious conversion with political and economic goals. By the 1830s, after Mexico gained independence from Spain, the missions were secularized. Their lands were redistributed, marking the end of direct Spanish control. From the perspective of Latin culture, the California missions representing a chapter of cultural encounter and conflict. Spanish religious and imperial ambitions deeply affected indigenous peoples and shaped the cultural landscape of California. The missions left a lasting legacy in architecture, place names, and cultural traditions. However, they also carry a history marked by the profound impact of colonization on Native American communities.